Hey all, this is Val here with another Epic 7 video. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at Lidica, the Fire Ranger. Alright, for those not familiar with my streams or my channel, I'm going to start off by saying that she is one of my top 2 favorite units in the entire game. So the only one that ranks higher than her is Bologna. So it's weird that it's 2 Ranger units, but there you have it. Lidica is definitely one of my favorite units. And that S3 though, be honest, that S3 is just beautiful. It used to be the #1 S3 in the game, but now Lidica has taken that title. Even so, this is still my second favorite unit in the game. So enough doting over her. Let's talk about Lidica, how to build her, where to use her, the different ways that she can be used, artifacts that are good with her. We're just going to cover all the bases. I'm going to cover all the bases. So starting off, Lidica is a lot about control. On her S3, you have pushback and you have slow. So basically, she knocks the unit all the way back to the beginning of the combat readiness bar. And then on top of that, she drops speed on them, making them slower, so making it harder for them to make up lost ground. And then on her skill 2, you've got blind. Blind is just an amazing thing. It makes them do less damage. It prevents them from dropping all the nastiness that makes your life difficult, like burn, bleed, armor break, attack down. All that stuff has a very high chance to miss when blinded. And then to round out this very, very nice package, on skill 1, she does another combat readiness decrease. All in all, this makes her an excellent unit for control, which is how she's used a lot. So if you do plan on using her that way, you can make her speedy with high effectiveness. This will serve you well. It'll allow you to control the battlefield, whether you're doing arena, guild wars, hunts, or just plain out farming. This kit is excellent to have anywhere around. Now, for me, I didn't go that way. Just to show you my stats on her, here they are. I tried to get as much attack as I could, but I fell short here because what I did is I couldn't get all my crit chance substats in regular gear here, so I had to go with a crit chance necklace. Otherwise, I would have went attack, speed. In this case, I only have 1 attack here. So, unfortunately, that forced me to use speed here to give her decent speed. And because I couldn't meet my crit chance goal, of course, I had to get crit chance here, as I stated before. But if I could have done it in substats, I definitely would have dropped crit damage or more attack here to give some higher crits. Now, initially, I did have her with a much lower attack, but a much higher effectiveness because I was using her basically, as I said initially, to control the battlefield. But I feel if you're doing it that way, you are missing out on some decent damage from her, in addition to bringing the control aspect. In my current Hell Raid teams, a lot of the time she is my only DPS, and with Armor Break, she does consistent good damage that allows me to down both bosses before they become too much of a headache. So how did I build her? Well, you've already seen my percentile stats. I went effectiveness, speed, again, because I do want to use her in PvP from time to time. And if you want to do that, you are going to need speed, hands down. There's really no way around it. For sub stats, you're looking at attack, crit chance, and speed. I'll go ahead and show you my subs. If I am going too fast, go ahead and pause the video. Alright, so now I mentioned I also wanted to talk about artifact. Now, she has a lot of ways that she can go. On her banner, I was able to get 2 of her artifact, and what it does basically, if she doesn't kill with her skill 1, she gets another attack on the unit. So think about it like a Dust Devil that is for Rangers, basically is exactly what it is. Why this is really good on her is because of the combat readiness decrease that she does have on skill 1. So you can get 20% combat decrease on her if it procs, which is just really, really good. Now, if the enemy is debuffed, you get an additional 10%. So you can get 40% combat readiness reduction. This makes her pair very, very, very well with units like Dizzy, because Dizzy is definitely going to handle the debuffing, and then we'll have that additional 10% combat readiness debuff. Tie into this where if she doesn't kill the enemy, she will come back for a second round for an additional 20% combat readiness debuff, which makes her extremely dangerous. It gives her complete control of the battlefields. You add the blind and the 100% pushback on skill 3 to it, plus the speed slow, and you have a very formidable control unit. Now, this isn't the only option. Another perfectly viable option to run with her is also Rosa Harkonnen. What Rosa Harkonnen does is anytime it is not her turn and she attacks, meaning you're being called because someone is wearing a Unity set, she will get a 30% additional damage bonus. In addition to that, Rosa Harkonnen also increases the odds that that unit will specifically be called. So how it works is when a unit is wearing Unity, it doesn't increase the chances that that Unity will actually be part of a Unity attack. It increases the chances that the unit will call for someone else to attack. Rosa Harkonnen increases the odds that you will be the one to answer that call. So in an ideal setup, if you did want to maximize a Rosa Harkonnen setup, is all units around her will have a Unity ring, and then she herself will be wearing Rosa Harkonnen. This will help ensure that if one of them does call for assistance, that Lidica will be the one who answers the call. So whichever artifact you have, whether it be the Sword of Judgment or Rosa Harkonnen, both will serve them well. Overall, if your team is running Unity, and even if they're not, Rosa Harkonnen has a higher possibility to increase your damage output than Sword of Judgment does. So now, where would you use her? Where are these different builds viable? If you want a universal build that can be used pretty much anywhere, I would recommend a crit damage, attack, speed build. You would want to run her on a speed and crit chance set. In this setup, you do want to get all your crit chance in substats, which frees up your necklace slot for crit damage. The fact that you are running crit damage there will help offset that you do not have an attack slot there. This is a very high DPS output build and a very advanced build due to needing the exact crit chance stats you need increased when rolling substats. As we all know, if it has effect resistance, health, or effectiveness on it, and that 2 or 3 stats we really want, it is going to go to effectiveness, health, or effect resistance. This makes that a very complicated build, but that build is usable in all facets of the game. This includes Arena, Guild Wars, Hunts, and Abyss. When looking at her skill ups, what do you want to skill up? Where do you get the most bang for your buck? If you are going to be using her in Abyss and Hunts, definitely you can't go wrong with increasing S3. S3 will give you the combat bar pushback that you need, in addition to increasing the damage. Also, a viable option is increasing skill 2. What it does is it increases the effect chance of a blind up to 100%, which can be very useful in Abyss when you need someone to miss because they have a nasty debuff, or they're going to be doing high damage on their next attack. Lastly, you have skill 1. While skill 1 is extremely useful for the combat readiness pushback, there's no way to increase the combat readiness amount through skill ups. However, you are increasing damage. Because of this and the real utility coming from skill 2 and skill 3, I would recommend skilling up these first before skilling up skill 1. So, what's the next build we can look at? If you're dealing primarily with PvP, you don't care about anything else, you just need her to get turn 1 to push back maybe the Ruzid or to push back any other unit that you're looking to avoid damage from, the Cid, the Destina, whatever the case may be, then you do want very high speed. You will sacrifice pretty much a lot of stats for that. This build really kind of pigeonholes her into a strictly PvP build because she's not going to be doing much damage. You just have her there basically trying to control the enemy through blinds and combat readiness pushback. If you are going to go this way, then I recommend having other members in the group on Unity and then running Rosa Harkonnen on your Lidica. If you're going to be using her primarily in PvE, then we can use the first build that is the overall generic build for her, which is crit chance and substats, crit damage necklace, attack percent ring, and speed boots. This will work pretty much in all facets of the game. Now, in regards to her additional effect, her devotion skill is attack percent. Everybody and their grandma has attack percent. It seems like I have a very high rate of units that have that. Honestly, if you don't have the devotion skill unlocked, it's not going to make or break you. Obviously, if you do, it will allow your other members in your team to do more damage. So if you're running her alongside a Bologna, alongside a Lidica, or whoever it may be, it will increase their damage. However, keep in mind that it does not apply to her, and only the top and bottom slots do take advantage of her attack percent increase. Please take note of that if you do have one with the high devotion skill, so you can make sure the correct units are assigned to those slots to take advantage of her attack percent increase. Lastly, let's talk about the stats. Now, baseline, I do prefer if you are going to build her attack. I did not meet this goal due to me having to run a crit chance necklace, but you do want at least 3k attack. If you do not have 3k attack, you want to make sure you have around 250 to 260 crit damage, which is easily accomplishable by running a crit damage necklace. However, keep in mind you will need to get your crit chance in substats, thus making that an advanced build. Defense and health is whatever you can muster. It's not a primary focus for the unit. She shouldn't really be getting hit that much at all, so focusing on those two really aren't necessary. For speed, you do want to get anywhere from 220 to 230 speed for her to make her at least viable in the speed meta. Anything over 200 is perfectly usable in all PvE content. It's really PvP where you want to get it up much higher. As always with my DPS units, I do recommend 100% crit chance. In my case, I do have it, but again, it came at the expense of my necklace slot. My critical hit damage also isn't where I want it due to having to run a crit chance necklace. If I could have run a crit damage necklace, that means this would be about 265 crit damage at 100% crit with 2.6k attack, which would result in some pretty hefty crits and really make up for the fact that we are using speed in the boot slot. Effectiveness, you do at least want over 60%, so that way you can make sure all her control effects happen. This is regardless whether you're using her in PvE or PvP. The more effectiveness you have, the better. Effect resistance is always good in the current meta with Dizzy, Ball, Armentia running rampant in pretty much all teams in Champion. This is a must stat if you plan on using her there. Unless you're using a cleave team where there shouldn't be a turn 2, this is something you do want to take a look at. And of course, the dual attack chance is 5%. But that's going to do it for the Lidica review. I thank everyone for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And remember, all you dudes and dudettes out there, stay frosty.